the kibbeh. I will start off with making the stuffing for the kibbeh. I'll heat 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Have 1 large onion chopped. Saute until soft. Now I'll add 1 pound of coarsely ground beef. Cook until brown. Now the meat is brown. We'll add 1 to 2 teaspoons of mixed spices and some salt for seasoning the meat. Mix. Turn the heat off. Now I'll spoon the mixture into a mesh sieve, trying to drain all the excess fat and cooking liquid. This will prevent the meat for overcooking and will be really nice and tender. Will not dry out. Then we'll spoon it back into the frying pan. Let it sit aside to cool completely. To make the paste for the kibbeh, I need 2 cups of fine ground burghul. Wash it with cold water. And let it soak for about 20 to 30 minutes to absorb all the water. Now the burghul is already soaked and it's really saturated with water. It's real soft. What I would do is I will take handfuls of the burghul, squeeze it, and put it in the mixing bowl. In the mixing bowl, I have 1 pound of very lean ground beef. It's real finely ground. So there's 1 pound of lean beef. Continue squeezing all the water out of the burghul. Burghul is a form of wheat that's been cleaned, steamed or boiled and dried, then ground into different sizes of grains. The processing of wheat to burghul, it's been originated in the Middle Eastern countries. They've been using burghul for thousands of years. And it is very common ingredient in many of the Middle Eastern dishes. Burghul is very, very healthy for you. It's packed with fiber, protein, vitamin B, magnesium, and iron. Make sure we get all. To this, I'll be adding about 1 teaspoon of Kibbie spices. It's a blend of red pepper, paprika, cumin, and nutmeg. Also, we need some salt to season. And I need to have iced water next to me in case I need to use it. So what I would do, I will mix everything together until it's well incorporated and form into nice smooth paste. And this is what we're going to use for the crust. Kibbie is a dish made with burghul and ground meat and some spices. Kibbie is very common dish in many of the Middle Eastern countries. It's almost like a national dish in Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, and Iraq. And it's also common in Turkey, Armenia, and the Arabian Peninsula. Sprinkle with some iced water if needed. The most common kibbeh is the one that's made with burghul and ground meat and stuffed with ground meat and some spices. Could be served baked, fried, or boiled, and sometimes even raw. This looks good. You can also use a food processor to form this mixture into nice paste. I'm just gonna mix everything by hand today. Looks really nice and it's really easy to make. It's nice and smooth. We'll let it sit on the side. I will grease this baking dish. For this recipe, you need about 12 to 14 inches in diameter baking dish, and it needs about 2 to 3 inches deep. Because there'll be 2 layers of crust and a layer of stuffing in the middle. So we want to make sure it's deep enough. Grease the whole thing with shortening. Set on the side. We have a piece of plastic wrap. Sprinkle with some water. I'll divide the paste into 2 equal portions. we will roll each one into 14 inches in diameter using 2 pieces of plastic wrap. Roll it out with our rolling pin, starting from the center and going to the sides. It's optional how thick you want the crust to be. You can have it as thick as half an inch or as thick as maybe 1/4 of an inch. That all depends how you want to serve it. Keep rolling the paste into smooth, even layer. Use one of the pot lids to measure the diameter. So this looks good. Try to get perfect circle. This looks good. And then with the aid of a rolling pin, we'll try to transfer it to the baking dish. Smooth it out into an even layer. This looks nice and smooth. Now our stuffing is nice and cool. We'll spoon our stuffing onto the first layer of crust. Spread it into an even layer. Try to press gently. And now it's time for us to make the top layer of our kibbeh. Form it into a nice disc, and then cover with another piece of plastic wrap. And roll it into about 12 to 14 inches in diameter. Looks good. It's thin enough and looks like it's gonna fit. To have an even circle. And again, with the aid of the rolling pin, we'll transfer to go on top of the stuffing. Try to smooth everything using iced water. Press into it gently and seal all the edges together. And try to fix any areas that's not even using ice water. You see how easy everything smooths out? Looks nice and smooth. Now at this point, we'll cut it into different shapes. You can cut it into diamond shapes, or you can cut it into any other shapes that you like. I will make a different design. Do the same thing. Like I said, you can cut it in any shape you like. Then, last thing, I melted the shortening a little bit, so it'll be easy to brush over the crust. The shortening will make it real nice and crispy on top and golden brown. You can also make individual baked kibbeh for 1 or 2 people. So I'm using these oval individual. I have crust in the bottom, meat in between, and then crust on top. Press into this, gently smooth the surface with some iced water. Looks good. And we'll cut into diamond shape. Okay, we'll do the same thing. We'll brush the top with some melted shortening. I have my oven preheated at 350. We'll bake them for 30 to 40 minutes until golden brown. will go in the oven to bake. Will bake for 30 to 40 minutes.